What is the creepiest real-life story you know that still sends chills down your spine? In 1977, an Alberta couple wanted a pump for their septic tank, and they decided to take the pump from the tank in their old abandoned farm instead of buying a new one. In doing so, they discovered a body that was thrown there. The victim's story is very horrific. He was tortured and SA'd before he was unalived, then thrown in the septic tank of an abandoned farm, hoping that the crime would never be discovered. The victim was identified in 2021, but the murder is yet to be solved. The TV. My aunt woke up in the middle of the night and noticed the red LED light on her TV was off. She rolled over in bed and saw the light turn back on. When she woke up the next morning, her TV was gone, along with a ton of other stuff. Walking home, a friend of mine in high school was unalived by someone with their car. He was walking home wasted after a party. The autopsy showed injuries that were consistent with the car slowly crushing him, like they were driving under 10 miles per hour. The autopsy also showed he was run over twice, just as slowly. It didn't end his life instantly. He crawled to the side of the road and probably lived for hours in excruciating pain. Not only did they never find out who did it, they never had a single suspect. It happened deep in his neighborhood, so it's not likely that it was some stranger from the highway. So whoever did it could be a neighbor that's still living there, camping. My grandparents are Dutch immigrants in New Zealand. And in the 1970s, they had a caravan that they took out camping to a rural part of the North Island for a little family fun camping trip. My mom and siblings would have been 10 or younger at the time. They were way out in the middle of nowhere near a lake in the rainforest, and after the kids had gone to sleep, my grandparents had stayed awake a little while just reading, having a cup of tea. They started hearing strange noises, like footsteps outside and twigs breaking. Maybe a hushed voice, but thought they were going paranoid. They were getting a bit freaked out at this point, but assumed it was nothing and they'd be safe. Grandpa told me he couldn't go to sleep, and suddenly heard a footstep right outside the caravan door. He peeked out the window of the caravan, and it was completely pitch black and no moonlight whatsoever. But he could see the glowing cigarette of what must have been a pretty tall man standing right at the door of the caravan. He could still hear other footsteps too, even though whoever was smoking this cigarette outside the door was standing dead still. He told me he'd never been so scared in his life, but he had to do something because he had his wife and 4 little kids sleeping inside the caravan. So he grabbed his butcher's knife. He was a butcher by profession. Lord knows why he had it on a family camping trip. Opened the door to confront or yell or do whatever he could to scare the people away. But when he opened the door, he saw no one and heard no noise. He thought he was going crazy, but he saw the cigarette butt on the ground outside the door, freshly finished. He got into the car straight away. He had everything ready to go. Luckily, because he'd already planned on beginning driving early the next morning anyways, and he drove everyone away and found somewhere else near a town to stay instead. Story freaks me out every time I think about it. Hisashi Uchi. In 1999, at a small nuclear facility in Tokaimura, Japan, 3 technicians were mixing chemicals they had handled dozens of times before. But on this day, one tiny mistake set off one of the most dangerous chain reactions imaginable. 23-year-old Hisashi Uchi was standing closest to the tank when a blinding flash of blue light filled the room. For the next few seconds, no one truly understood what had just happened, only that everything was suddenly very, very wrong. When emergency crews arrived, Hisashi was conscious, even talking. But doctors quickly realized something terrifying. He had absorbed more radiation than anyone had ever survived. The staff threw every possible treatment at him, refusing to give up. But as days turned into weeks, it became clear that Hisashi's body was fighting a battle no human could win. And what makes this case so unsettling isn't just the accident itself. It's that Hisashi remained awake for far longer than anyone expected, trapped in a medical nightmare that even the doctors couldn't fully explain. To this day, the Tokaimura incident remains one of the most chilling reminders of how a single moment can change everything, instantly, silently, and irreversibly.